Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for your support, your love and your views. We appreciate you. Thank you for joining us on today's tutorial. My name is Priska Oserali, the lead instructor at Gold Imperial Academy, where we empower interested individuals to become better at garment making via our teachings in pattern drafting and garment construction. We appreciate you for joining us today. In today's tutorial, we'll be showing you how to cut the mandarin collar on fabric and also how to apply your interfacing to the mandarin collar. Come along with us. So for the collar, we have different types of fusible interfacing that you can use. This is the collar stay. It's quite hard. It's thicker than the regular stay. You can use this if you want to give it a solid structure. You can also use a lighter stay. This is the paper stay, is lighter. Okay, so if you don't want it to be too stiff, you can use this. There are also other interfacings that you can use. So for this tutorial, I'm going to be using this stay. It's not too stiff and it's not too soft, okay? So I'm going to be using this interfacing. To apply your interfacing to your mandarin collar or to any collar at all, this is what I do. So you get your interfacing, place your pattern. Okay, this is my mandarin collar pattern. Considering all the annotations on it, this says I am to cut 2, okay, on fabric. But when I'm applying my stay, I'll only cut 1 for my stay, okay? But if I'm using a very light interfacing, I can cut 2 so that I'll have it on both the main fabric and also on my facing. All right, so I'll put this on fold. My cutting instruction says the center front is to be on fold, so I'm doing just that. I'm folding my interfacing, so I will make sure it's laying well. Then I'm going to be cutting my interfacing without any allowance using my pattern. So you can see that my pattern does not have any allowance on it, okay? It's just the way I have constructed it. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut this. So here is my interfacing now. So this is my center back and this is my center front. Note again that this is without any allowance. So now I'll place this on my fabric. Okay, it is on my fabric that I'll be adding my seam allowance. So I'll place this on my fabric, making sure that I have enough to add a seam allowance, and iron it down. I'll place this on the wrong side of my fabric, okay? So you can see this is the wrong side of the fabric. This type of fabric, you may not be able to see the wrong side, but using this, you will know that this is the wrong side and this is the right side. So I'll place my interfacing on the wrong side of my fabric and then iron it down. So I'll just quickly iron this down to my fabric. So here I have ironed it down. So next I can now mark out my seam allowance on the fabric. Just do 0.5. If you can manage 0.25, you can make your seam allowance to be 0.25. But for me, I'm going to do just 0.5. I'm fine with 0.5. Then thereafter, you can trim off any excess, okay, so that it won't be bulky. All right. So just mark your seam allowance on your fabric, okay? Mark 0.5 on your fabric, and thereafter you connect all the points. But if you are able to manage 0.25, that will be fine. But for this 0.5, I will still trim it off when I am done with the stitching. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting 2 of this. My cutting instruction says to cut 2 of this. So this now becomes the facing, that is the second one, will become the facing of this first one. So now I have my allowance all drawn out. I can now go ahead and cut this out. Alright, so now that I have it cut out, I'm now going to place it on my fabric again to cut out the facing. So I'll just place like so and then cut out my facing now. Alright, so here we are. This is the main fabric and this is the facing. So now I'm going to take it to my machine and stitch. Now when you are stitching, you would stitch very close to the interfacing that you attached. Okay, so you would stitch it very close to the interfacing. Now this will enable it to turn easily when you are done stitching. So I'll just take it to the machine and stitch it very close to my interfacing. But before I do that, I'm going to take this to the machine and stitch this down first. Okay, I'm going to stitch this down first like so, then I will now place them together, stitch. So here we have stitched it down. If you notice, I don't know if you can see this on camera, you would see that I stitched it very close to the interfacing. So before I turn it, you just clip off the edges so that when you turn this, it can turn out well. Then trim off a bit of the fabric, that is the seam allowance that you left. So trim off a bit, okay, so it's not bulky. So now I'm going to go ahead and turn this. Here it is. I'm going to give it a good press now. If you want to top stitch, you can do that. You can top stitch on it all the way, okay, but I'm going to iron this first. So this is my collar. Before I attach it to my garment, okay, I'm going to clip the middle, just fold it in two, okay, then clip the middle. Okay, so you would also clip the middle of your garment, okay, the neckline, that is the center back or center front, wherever you are attaching it. So in this case, I'm going to clip my center front because my center front is the one on fold. So you clip your center front or center back, whichever one applies, and then I would pin the two together and attach all the way. Okay, I will attach all the way, then flip out, okay, and then attach again. This is what I mean. I am attaching this to this garment, okay, so I'll just fold this like so, okay, and then clip the center front like so. Okay, now it's clipped. So I'll now pin like so, okay, I'll pin this, okay, and pin it all around, then stitch. Now when I'm done stitching, then I'll flip. So I'll just top stitch this part that has the interfacing all around. Okay, so I'm going to take it to my machine now and do that.